Margaret, I just want to begin Las Ciancurla by saying I strongly oppose this measure. I feel that it's unnecessary, it's very divisive. What we need at this time is collaboration and consultation with our businesses who are on their knees. And I just want to point out as well that the vast majority of pubs and restaurants have been very, very responsible, and indeed they've gone beyond what they've been asked to do in terms of putting safety measures in place. I do feel that this is unnecessary. It's very, very heavy-handed. The legislation is very ambiguous, and I can honestly see legal problems arising as a result of this legislation. And I just want to say that it's not well thought out, and I don't know how on earth any rural TD who knows what rural villages and towns are like can honestly support this. I honestly don't know. I think what's needed here is a reality check. Anybody who comes from rural Ireland will know that the most you have in the pub most nights is 15 to 20 people. I know that from my own area. If you're lucky. So the social distancing is there naturally. And I just feel that, there's a total disconnect with rural Ireland and what's happening in rural Ireland. And this is going to cause more division because people really have gone out of their way. And for the sake of a very small element in big cities who do need to be monitored, where there were breaches, absolutely monitor them, but don't punish rural businesses. Rural businesses have been really, really punished severely, and I feel that the lack of collaboration and consultation has been shameful. Why was the roadmap for reopening pubs not produced at the same time as this legislation? I mean, it's all one-way traffic. It's just a very, very heavy-handed and unfair approach, and I would just urge the government to think carefully about doing this, and I say this in a constructive sense, that this is going to bring up problems and issues will arise from this. And I believe that Gardaí have more to be doing than checking all the pubs. I know from my own constituency in Laois Offaly, there's been a shortage of Gardaí for years. So I don't know how they're going to be able to get to grips with rural crime, with antisocial behaviour, and now they'll have to monitor the pubs when there's absolutely no need, because the vast majority of publicans are very responsible people. And I just feel it's totally, totally unnecessary. I also want to add that this government, being so out of touch with rural Ireland, I would suggest that maybe they take a staycation in rural counties. And if they take that staycation, maybe they'll see what the reality is and how we operate and how we survive against the odds in rural Ireland, and how many of our businesses have been unfairly decimated because of ill-thought-out legislation and the lack of adequate supports. I do believe this is a grave mistake, and I do hope that supports will be given to the publicans, and indeed that trust now that's broken, and indeed the relationships that have been broken down as a result of this, that they will be rebuilt in some shape or form constructively, because we do need to all work together in regard to this issue. And I believe that, it has to happen. But I think that pubs have been treated shamefully, and restaurants as well. And that even in my own constituency of Laois Offaly, remember, we were already stigmatised with an unnecessary lockdown, because a localised lockdown was not implemented, and instead of that, 3 counties were all entirely closed down. Completely wrong in the case of Laois Offaly, completely wrong. That already has caused problems, and indeed has created a stigma. So now what's going to happen is we're going to have a worse situation now with these draconian measures being brought in, and indeed with a breakdown now in collaboration. There was never proper collaboration there in the first place, because what should have been happening was representatives from those businesses and indeed from the Vintners Association, they all should have been included. The hospitality sector were completely shut out all along with the different measures that have been brought in. Again, no consultation, no collaboration, one-way traffic, heavy-handed approach. I absolutely oppose it in every shape and form.